Hello and welcome back to the Eyesville Gaming channel for another game review. And we're looking at another horror game today on the channel. So this one is a little bit more recent than the retrospectives I've been doing lately, though it has been out for a little while now. Today we're looking at the game Still Wakes the Deep. This one released in 2024, being published by Secret Mode and developed by The Chinese Room. If you're like me and had no idea who Secret Mode was, it's because they don't exist anymore, and didn't exist for that long before being purchased by Tencent. The Chinese Room, as you probably already guessed, is also a subsidiary of Tencent, and have made a handful of games that I've never heard of, such as Little Orpheus and Everybody's Gone to Rapture, which is apparently the spiritual successor to Dear Esther, also developed by the Chinese Room, and also a game I hadn't heard of until making this review. So with all that, this one is a little bit of a wild card for me coming in, but let's take a look at it first, trying to stay as objective as possible so I can let you know what to expect in the game while also remaining as spoiler-free as possible. Make sure to stay to the end of the video if you'd like to hear my own opinion on it and if I would recommend it to a friend. But now, without any further ado, let's help you to answer the most important question asked in this review series. Is this one worth it for you? Let's get into it. Okay, so let's quickly set up the plot for you. We've got a game that takes place in 1975, and the player takes on the role of Cameron Kaz McCleary. Cameron, or Kaz, is an electrician on an oil rig in the North Sea, and in the first few minutes of the game, you get to experience the rather negative situation Kaz finds himself in. No, I'm not talking about the Lovecraftian horrors in the deep, I'm talking about his job and his relationship, which are both in a very bad spot. And to top it all off, he's also wanted by the Scottish police over an earlier situation, which happens prior to the start of the game. So in amidst all this bad news, everything basically goes from bad to worse, as everything just turns from a story about a guy in a rough spot to a guy in the middle of a nightmare Lovecraftian horror. Really, I think that's all you probably need to know regarding the plot. It takes place on an oil rig, you play as an electrician named Cameron McCleary, his life is in ruins, and the game is mostly focused on horror, with the particular style of horror in this story-heavy game being influenced by Lovecraftian styles. So what games can I give you to compare and get an idea of what to expect? Well, if you've been watching my videos, maybe you're going to hate it, but Firewatch. I'm using this one again as the gold standard, as it's another in the somewhat walking simulator type of games with heavy story focus and first-person exploration. Now, I would say that Still Wakes the Deep is more traditional gameplay focused than Firewatch, but it's not super heavy on the gameplay side of the game. This is still going to be a story-first, walk-around and experience type of game. Another one that I could mention is Outlast. Although the setting and story are not going to feel too similar, I do want to mention this for the running and hiding style of interaction with antagonists. It definitely still gives you that prey animal feeling that I mentioned in the Outlast review, although I would say this one is going to feel less, intense maybe? And by intense I mean in terms of that prey animal feeling that it gives you. It's still there, but it just doesn't feel quite as on the nose as in Outlast. Everything you're going to encounter in the game definitely feels way more OP than you, so keep in mind that you're just playing a regular guy, not an action hero or something. So basically all encounters are going to rely on stealth and cunning to get through. You're not going to be gunslinging or kung-fuing your way out on this one. So another one that I can throw out there to compare is Call of Cthulhu. This one I'm mostly just bringing up for the Lovecraftian feel, which is going to be similar between both games. Lastly, maybe Hellblade 2. This one is also kind of a weird one to compare on the surface, but mostly I'm just drawing to the parallel that this is a story-focused game. I bring it up because unlike a lot of these story-focused walking sims, it does have some traditional gameplay elements, but they're going to be rather simple. The traditional gameplay does take a backseat for the narrative and the story that's going on. So not quite as walking simulator as Firewatch, but maybe not as directly gamey as Hellblade 2. It's going to be somewhere in the middle with big emphasis on stealth, which is going to make up the bulk of your gameplay elements, similar to Outlast. Still Wakes the Deep is a first-person psychological horror action game. For me, the standout mechanic is the exploration of zones and environmental storytelling. As I already mentioned, this is a highly story-driven game. As such, areas within the game or zones you need to explore to continue on in the story will be laid out in a thoughtful way to tell the story of what happened. Aside from that, you're going to have a bunch of things like personal items which tell the main character's story or give you some more story on the people on the rig itself. Next up is the stealth component. The main gameplay mechanic and element that isn't just story related is the stealth in the game. And also there is a fair amount of platforming that's going to be related to the stealth in order to avoid or get away from enemies. So you're not dealing with traditional combat as in most games. As I said, you're just a regular guy, so no crazy combat sequences. When dealing with encounters, there's going to be a bunch of sneaking around and at times high-speed, intense sequences. There's also a bunch of object interaction in the game, and you're going to get treated to some quick-time sequences throughout. Something that also comes up a bunch is needing to make your way to a phone so that you can communicate with others on the rig. But there's also a bunch of switches, door hatches, and other things that need to be interacted with to open new routes or close the way behind you. Lastly, I wanted to mention the swimming and underwater sections. So there's going to be these areas where you need to swim underwater, or sometimes there might be rising water in an area, and you need to plan out how you're going to get through so that you don't drown. Really, I would say that you could be taken out by an enemy or monster, but it's much more likely that you fall or drown. So those are definitely the key things to watch out for as you play through the game. Personally, I thought that the graphics were done really quite well. It's got a movie-like or cinematic-like style which holds throughout the game. The nice thing with games that go the very linear route such as this, instead of the massive open-world style, is that environments and objects have a much greater handcrafted feel. Not only are the graphics done really well, but assets are used well and placed in a very conscientious way. I also really like the look of the water and the oily water in the game. Sometimes this can be hard to pull off, but personally I thought it was done really quite well. Obviously, since the game takes place almost entirely in a single location, that being the oil rig, there isn't going to be much diversity of environments. Even so, I think they do a great job with the area that they're working with here, but of course just use the gameplay footage to decide for yourself if this is your style. Personally, I didn't really run into any major bugs, maybe some graphical stuff, but I've seen other people saying there's a bunch of graphical glitches and weird flickering. I did not have this issue. I've also read a lot online of assets failing to load or disappearing objects. Again, not something I personally experienced. It's possible that maybe there was a patch that came out that I had that they didn't have when they were playing through, but I just wanted to mention it as it's something that I've seen others talking about. As far as the standout unique features in this game, I would say that the immersive environments which focus on realism while taking place in a completely fantastical story are going to be the high points for me. The oil rig, which is recreated from the 1970s, looks amazing, and at least from the perspective of someone who has never been on an oil rig, it all seems to feel very authentic. The water and dynamic flooding also adds an interesting element to the game. The environment changes to your actions. It's not going to be actions that are fully player-driven, as in, the player is essentially just taking steps that they have to along the way in a linear story to move the story forward. But regardless, the way that the environment reacts to those changes and those actions, it just gives a great immersive experience, and again, a very authentic feel to the game. I thought that the sound was great in this game and really added quite a bit, especially in those sections where you need to be stealthy or avoid being seen. Voice acting is really quite good, though if you're not great with accents, I do recommend that you have subtitles on, as it can be difficult to catch everything being said otherwise. Since sound is totally up to the individual experience, I'll just play some examples so you get an idea of what to expect.
I swear.
I'll see you for darts tonight. We'll put a wee picture of Rennick up on the board for you.
Sounds like a plan. See ya.
All right, Roper, what's the problem? Don't usually see you down here.
Drill's acting up this morning.
So really quickly, now that we've covered all the different aspects of the game, I just want to mention something. We've got the subjective opinion part coming up, and I just like to let people know that whether or not I enjoyed the game, it doesn't mean that you will or won't. Try to use the first part of the review to decide if this is right for you. Other than that, if you're new to the channel, don't expect a number rating or some other goofy system of like stars or something like that. I don't believe in them for games, and I don't use them. And with that out of the way, the final question. Did I enjoy Still Wakes the Deep, and would I recommend it to a friend?
It was a great story. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good game. Again, keep in mind that this one is firmly in the walking simulator-ish, highly story-driven category of games. There is some more traditional gameplay than others in this style, but it's really not the gameplay that's selling this one. It's the story, the environment, and the immersion. This game is also another one where we kind of feel like we're playing through more of an interactive movie than a traditional video game. I remember that I used to really hate on these types of games, but maybe it's because I'm getting older, or maybe because the graphics and realism are getting better, or maybe the devs are just investing heavier into storytelling elements. Honestly, it's likely a combination of all those things, but regardless, I've completely come around and changed my mind on how I feel about these types of games. It's not like I enjoy all of them, and I have covered a few on the channel that I personally did not like at all. But overall, I feel like this genre of games really has some good entries out there. And personally, this might actually be my favorite of the interactive movie-like style of games. Of course, my gamer heart and passion for video games has and will likely always be in games that are heavier in the game side of things, or gameplay side of things I should say. But when you just want to chill out and experience something that's not going to give you the gamer sweats, these can be great to throw on. I guess the big difference that sets Still Wakes the Deep apart from others is that it still manages to throw enough intense sequences that it really does not feel like a mechanical experience at all by just pressing the walk button or holding the thumbstick. The stealth sequences are done really quite well, and you're going to need to think your way through, use distraction when you can, and be more involved in what's actually playing out. The way that the story evolves from going from just a depressing situation, but a rather mundane one, to an all-out Lovecraftian horror is executed extremely well in my opinion. One minute you're playing out the Kaz Life in Ruins simulator, and the next you're trying to sneak past some horrific monster from the deep. And yet all the way through this game, it doesn't forget about Kaz or his personal life, as it keeps bringing you back to his story, even while all the chaos unfolds around him. Now, one thing that I will mention, though if you're familiar with these types of games, this is going to be no surprise at all. This game is very short. It's going to clock in at about 4 hours, give or take a bit. But really, I think this is pretty common for the genre, and I feel like it's about right for the amount of time that you want to spend on these kind of stories and what they're going for. So who am I going to recommend this game to? Well, anyone who likes these interactive movie style games. But you also need to enjoy stealth and be okay with some platforming. Overall, this is going to be a well-crafted experience and an interesting story, so I think there's a wider appeal than others that games in this genre might have. So I hope you enjoyed this look at Still Wakes the Deep. Let me know down in the comments if you've already played this one and if you agree or disagree with my own opinion. If you found the video helpful or entertaining, please consider giving it a like and also think about subscribing to the channel. I upload a bunch of gaming content, not just reviews like this, but also walkthroughs and other gaming stuff, and I'd love to have you join the community and help direct the future of the channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today, and until next time, take care.
Still can't believe you went. What are you thinking? Going to that place? Wish you hadn't got yourself into this mess, but you did. You can't run forever. I know you were just trying to do right by me, so I need you to do what's right by us. Now, please, Kaz. I am so tired of fighting. I just want it to be over. I want you home. The girls want you home, but if you don't deal with this, then we are done for good. I love you. But I won't wait forever. Suze.
Jesus, Suze.
Girls need you a Christmas card.
Fuck. Merry fucking Christmas.